Hello, my name is Mitja Sadar and I'm a founder of Pink Elephant Solutions. I've been helping companies to raise money and scale for the last 20 years. What I like to say, I'm a banker by training, but an entrepreneur by passion. So today we're going to talk about the cap tables and the timing for raising money. So when is the right time to raise money? The right time to raise money is when you have something attractive to show, either attraction or a product that is going to impress the investors, show them the potential, but keep them excited about what's coming. What you have to make sure, though, is that you have this ready before you really need additional money. Because investors, they're just like banks. They're happy to give you money when they are sure that they're going to get their money back, when they're sure that something really is coming, and that you don't really need it to survive, at least initially. If you wait too long, you will have to accept terms such as a strong liquidation preferences or similar, which are going to hurt you down the line. When you think about a cap table, what's important to know is that you should try to avoid debt equity. What is a debt equity? Debt equity is an equity that you have given for somebody who's no longer participating in a company. This could either be a university that helped you launch the company, or this could be a co-founder that left, or similar situations, or maybe an early investor that gave you 15,000, 20,000 to get off the ground in exchange for 10-15% of the company, but then is no longer contributed or interested in the company. Any debt equity will cost you a lot in the long term and will mean that it's more difficult to raise in the future. Another pitfall when you're doing a cap table is that you can have too many investors on cap table. I know it sounds strange. I mean, the more money you raise, the better it is. But if that money is too dispersed, whenever you need an agreement of investors, if you have 3, 4, 5, or 10 or 15 names on the cap table, you will be able to talk to them and you'll be able to get it. The moment you cross a threshold of 40, 50, it becomes super complex to keep everybody informed and to get everybody's agreement when it's needed. A solution for that, in a lot of cases, if you have a lot of interest from the smaller tickets, is to ask them to pool. So to create a separate company in which they all put the money together, and that company then invests in you. What's the benefit is that whenever you need an approval, you only need an approval from whoever's managing the company and not from every investor that invested in that specific company. So that's super important. It's going to make your life much easier down the line. Another thing to look at is when you get a lot of interest, once you start getting super traction and everybody's calling you, hey, I want to invest, you have a choice between strategic investors and non-strategic investors. And on one end, the strategic investors seem super appealing. They can open you a lot of doors. They can turbocharge your growth, and they can, open the doors which would have been closed if they didn't invest. On the other hand, if they have too large stake, which normally is defined at around 20% or above, this closes the door for any future investors, any future non-strategic investors to participate, because everybody will assume that the strategic investors will then support you and make you grow in the future. Limits also your exit options and makes it more difficult to sell the company at the end. When we already talk about exit, you might want to consider, it's a very thin line, it's a very careful balance that you need to do when you're talking about exit. Talking about exit too much and too early can mean that investors think you're in it just for the money, you're not about building something great, and this can scare them off. However, most of the investors do have a limited life of the funds, and they need to see a tangible exit option after 5 to 7 years. So you need to somehow mention it without making it too prominent. So it's not a first slide in the pitch deck, but it's something that you should be ready to discuss in the meeting with the investor and outline the options how they would be.